This LiLNGB locked in with Countyboysin.
Countyboysin brought his
All right, man.
camera.
So who we got here today, man?
We got LiLNGB, Uptown Finest in the building.
Okay. And Lil, where you from, man? Like, just you know, tell people where you from and what it's like coming. Where you from?
I'm from Uptown Philly. It's like the top of the city. Like we got downtown Philly, we got North Philly, West Philly. Where I'm from is Uptown Philly, Mount Airy.
And how was it coming up in Mount Airy?
I mean, it wasn't too crazy, but it definitely was crazy. Like where I'm from, things was definitely going on. But for the most part, it was a cool area for sure.
Right. It was a cool area and crime,
Yeah,
things
it,
like
it
that.
was it was crime there, people selling drugs, shootings, things of that nature, things that go on anywhere in Philadelphia or any inner city youth, like yeah, like
Metropolitan,
anywhere, yeah.
urban community.
Or
Right,
any
right,
urban community.
right,
Things that
right.
go on anywhere.
How did you separate yourself from being entangled in that type of mess and that drama? Just I'm black as well.
Yeah,
Our friends could be peer pressure.
yeah.
It seemed like you always separated yourself with a thin line. As much as I've known you from the time that I did recognize you, it
Right.
seemed like you've always had this mature mentality about you that really didn't negate with maybe those around you, if you understand what I'm saying. It was
Yeah.
always more mature, more gentleman, if I
Yeah.
if I may say. Like, what would you say about that, and how did that come about?
I had a few older guys around my way, my old heads. They were some good dudes, so they raised me, So and then I always wanted more for myself too. Like I knew that like that wasn't the end all for me or my folks. So I always wanted to like come up with ideas that maybe can get us out of our situation, as in like music or a clothing line or even recording studios. Um, Anything that can get us out of our situation. That's the only thing I try to do. Like with all of this here.
Right, and most people don't think like that.
Yeah.
Most people don't think like that, and that was one of the things that made me like, yo, bro, I really got to lock in with Lil because he always had a standard to him. He
Yeah.
always had a sense of structure to him. From when I first recognized you, from you managing artists,
Yeah.
right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Probably seeing you at a concert here and there, seeing you in videos.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed me to say, well, dang, bro, not really acting like how everybody else may be acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which
Mm-hmm.
made you an attraction within your own right.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It really,
Mm-hmm.
it honestly did.
Yeah.
And that was during the music phase. Are you still doing the music phase? And how did that start?
Yeah. I'm still doing the music phase, but I'm more so in the boxing phase right now. Um, I started with the music when I was about like probably 10. I was actually in a group. Nobody really noticed, but I was in a group called PGW. I think it was going to stand for Philly Gangsters Worldwide. So I was like 10. But my friends used to write for me. So I was just like the little mascot, and we used to battle everybody. Like it was some ciphers going on in Cheltenham Mall where like a lot of people would come up there. They knocked them all down now, but it was a movie theater and it was an arcade there. So it'd be like 100 people literally, and we'd be in the circle. It'd be my folks, and there'd be a bunch of people from all over Philly, and we'd get in the circle, and whoever had the best 16s would win. So I always been into music my whole life. My mom, she always was into music. Like I'm waking up in the morning, I'm hearing Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill. When I first heard Lauryn Hill, she's one of my favorite artists at the time. So my mom, I give a shout out to her too because she was one of the people that always played music and it always stuck to me too. So that's how I got into the music game.
Right, right. Okay. Now, to become a manager, to put people in, to put, to allow people to be responsible for your actions and your image and things like that, what would you say allow people to do that for you? So was it because you was older and just being around the way, or they just felt as though you always just had that structure mentally and you just wasn't other people and they had other people they possibly could have managed them? If you understand what I'm saying, is it
Yeah.
because you were just older than maybe some of the people that you were around, or was it because, yo, Lil actually does have a mindset and a mentality that is kind of superior and significant more than the people that's that's around me.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, people always kind of knew that I was like the chosen one on the business aspects of things. Like, so I would say that like people always knew that I was the one that was trying to figure something out. Because a lot of people would just be in the hood all day and not doing nothing. Literally just smoking weed all day. They don't have no goals. They're not driven by nothing. It's just every day wake up and do the same thing. So I would say that people kind of took a liking to me because I always wanted to do something.
Right.
Even if we got to take a road trip. I don't care if we got to go to New York. I don't care if we go to Baltimore.
Right.
I'm the type of person I just like to get up and go, and I gotta always be doing something.
Right. Which is a good habit to have. I try to advocate for healthy habits, healthy hobbies, what I mean? Things like that, right? All right. So what you managing, the first time I seen you, what you had an artist, KUR?
Yeah, KUR. Yeah. So I worked with KUR for about like 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did that go? He's had other endeavors we've seen up and down. I've seen you with other artists that you have taken on. You know what I mean? What was the separation like between you and him, and why hasn't things been rekindled?
All right. Well, me and KUR first started off. I was first coming in the game, so I didn't know as much, but I did know enough to get us to where we had to go. And I felt like with KUR, a lot of people around him were signing deals around the time, and he kind of felt left out. So I always told him, I was like, y'all, I think we should go the independent route because I always watch interviews from like Master P, Diddy, Dame Dash was one of the people I looked up to, and they always said that like you should probably go the independent route first, gain leverage, and then you sign the deal. You're not supposed to have one song and then go inside of a record label and think they're going to sign you for X amount of dollars with only one song.
And was that the case? He only had one song?
No, that wasn't the case. He had a bunch of mixtapes out at the time.
Right.
So he wanted to sign because he seen people like Rock and Uzi signing, and he kind of felt like he was left out. So that's one of the major parts where he had signed his first deal to E1. So how I went about it, I was wanting to do everything ourselves for real, like sell CDs out of the trunk, clothes.
Put the footwork in.
Yeah, put the footwork in to the point where they can't deny us a deal.
Correct.
And then when we do get a deal, it would have been a major deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Do you feel as though, well, I have two questions. One, did you separate from him or did he separate from you? And do you feel as though the separation has hindered him in his overall outcome in his career?
What's so crazy was I would say we both kind of separated from each other. It wasn't something that was planned. It was a lot of stuff going on in our lives, which I still kind of keep in contact with KUR to this day. You know what I mean? We're not the best of friends. I'm not going to sit here and say that we the best of friends, but I still, could reach out to bro, make sure that he all right, check on him, stuff of that nature. And I do feel as though he did make it far in his career, but I do feel as though if I was in his career still, I feel like he'd have made it farther.
You are a benefit.
Yeah.
I feel like you are a benefit, right?
So that's how I really feel. But I really feel though like he made his own decision. He's a grown man, and I'm not the type to go in here to try to bash him or do any of those type of things. I still got love for him. That's something that me and him both grew together, planted the seed, and it sprouted. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even mad at the situation. I'm kind of still I'm happy for him and for everything we put in because it didn't go unnoticed and like it actually went somewhere. Because a lot of people that do music and people don't even know who they are. They never even made it to new platforms. So I'm still kind of happy for what we done.
The artists that you have, do you still have artists? I seen at one point you did have Little Head.
Yeah, I still got Little Head, NGB, and Fazo. I had Fazo, but he just passed away.
What happened with Fazo?
He got involved in some street stuff where he got shot. That's my youngin', you know what I mean? So it was times that, I've tried to tell him to go a different route. But sometimes with these young boys out here, if they don't have the money right now, they liable to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So he was over 21, so at that point it was nothing that I could do. The only thing I could do for him was just try to tell him, to follow the right rules, you know, to be able to survive out here. But I felt as though with Faisal's situation, he wanted the money fast. He didn't he wanted to build, but he wanted it right now because what he see on Instagram and everybody got the bust down watches, the chains and all of that. So
But and sorry to cut you off, but it seems like even when I said with you how the people around you, there's a different structure and there's a different mentality that you can kind of recognize just right then there on the spot.
Yeah.
I feel like even with Little Head, he always had a different mentality than those maybe with him around him from what I've seen from the video.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know if it's growing up with you.
Little Head, yeah, he definitely be having his head on straight too. But like with any of these kids in Philadelphia, even I went left at times. But if you got people like me, like older cats that can like direct you in the right direction, so it's like how my old heads was. A lot of things I would have done if I didn't look up to my old heads. I'd be like, damn, how my old head gonna feel about this? And I know it's not the right thing to do.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, Little Head, he definitely came up under me heavy for sure.
Right. And I was able to get recognition of Lil Head and Faisal from you.
Yeah.
Mutual friends, Nell.
Yeah.
Nell will post them a lot. So I would see that a lot. You know what I mean? With the boxing, management with boxing, how do you find your talent? Okay.
I'm not even gonna lie, like it don't even gotta be boxing. I feel as though like I got a gift with spotting any talent. So like people try to box me in with music. And then I came with the boxing. So it's like, I'm not the type of person you could box in with anything because I can spot talent. You could be an artist or somebody that paint. You could be somebody that's into clothes, wherever. Right. You could be anything you do in life. I feel as though that I can manage you because I know talent.
Right.
That's just how it is. But with the boxing thing, I just gotta look at it. Off the first look, I could see if that person gonna be what he gonna be. Even off of music sometimes too. So
do you come across a lot of parents in terms of children and things like that? What do you come across, and how has that been easy? Has that been hard? Has that something you've been having to learn? Because even with me doing interviews, there's things I learned on the spot. You know what I mean? We talked before we got on camera, whatever. Like with the whole boxing management, sometimes when people can't keep you in the box, you got to learn on the spot.
Yeah.
What would you say you've learned just from just doing boxing management?
I say patience. Because like you have to come every day, you got to do this stuff every day, and you don't see no results in the beginning. Which I seen results, but I didn't still see like the top of the line results that I want to see. But to everybody else, they'll probably say that I'm doing well, but I know that there's way more for us out there than this. Like I know that for sure.
What's next for LiLNGB?
I'm gonna continue to do my content I'm creating. I'm gonna continue to push Ibn, and I'm gonna continue to push Lamar Smith Jr. Super. He 3-0 right now with 2 knockouts. He's a professional boxer, and Ibn, he just won his first national, so he's at 132. He's a national champion.
International champion. Yeah. I've seen Ibn on your page a few times. He resonated with me because Ibn means junior in Arabic. So my dad, so my name Ibn too to a point, right? Yeah. So anytime you would post, I'm like, dang, bro, nice, bro, nice. All right. So with him, my background is sociology, so I'm able to read people, see who they are. So that's why I always reference character and structure when I do talk about somebody. Right. So with him, he seems like he has this lackluster approach about him. Like even when you are interviewing him, he don't really got too much tenacity. He's not too confrontational in front of the camera. It's more like, well, I could have done better. I stumbled and I tripped and I was in bed. It's not really him saying, you know what, I'm willing to beat up everybody and I'm going through everybody. Where do you think he learned that from? Is that something you're telling him to kind of do in front of the camera? Not telling him, but something that you advise him to be professional in front of the camera? Or is that naturally him?
No, I actually tell him I want him to speak more. Honestly, his family is like that, like his cousin, his uncle is like that. So I feel as though he got some of them traits from his family.
Right. How he's brought up. Okay. We talked about you being business, like very business minded, having an acumen just financially, right?
Yeah.
You've always had ways to establish other people who were serious about their craft to become more serious through you. Whether if it was management, whether if it was time in the booth. Right now, right here in Lions Den Studio as we speak, shooting this right now. How does that come about? How do you come up with these business endeavors and the packages for the studios in the box and things like that?
Okay, so I say it comes from more of like a hustler standpoint of things. So when somebody give me an opportunity, I try to see like 1,000 ways that I can make money off of it. So when I was doing the what's up, bro?
Long time no see.
Yeah, same to you, bro. Same good.
Fault, y'all. Excuse me, y'all.
You good?
I had to grab my bag.
No, you good. Yeah, so I would say it's more of a hustle thing. So when somebody give me an opportunity, I always try to find like 1,000 ways to make money off of it. So when we was doing the stuff with the music, with KUR and all that, we sitting in the studio every day. So my guy, P.I., he had another studio on the side, but nobody was using it no more. So I said, well, then, can I get that studio? Can I put it together and call the Lions Den? And that was a guy that showed me about the studio side of things, with the business side of things and all of that. So I definitely want to give a shout out to P.I. and his brother Gweet, because they definitely helped me with the studio, the Lions Den. And for the packaging thing, I thought like, well, being as though time is moving and everybody is starting to do things on their own, and they really don't need no help because they could just go on ChatGPT, they could go on their phone. So I said, maybe I could try to give people the studio in the box so they could do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? And they could be able to build their clientele, because it's about them building the business too. So when I give people the opportunity, I'm giving them the opportunity to be able to record themselves or to build a business on their own as well.
Right. I feel like it's one of the smartest things I've seen in terms of just a business endeavor, in terms of allowing someone who could possibly even be homeless have a studio at their own disposal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anyone who pioneered, obviously it was your idea to come up with, but just, I'm telling you right now, just you having that business acumen will only take you further, even if that doesn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I try things daily. You know, I got my camera stuff. I do this, I do that, and whatever it don't work, I'm just going to the next thing, and it's gonna work. And if it don't, I'm on to the next thing, and it's gonna work. You know
they say you miss 1,000 shots you don't take, so you gotta take a shot. You
got to, and you always want to be around people who want to take that shot. You know what I mean? They're not offended when you talk about taking that shot. You know what I mean? Because I can only imagine some of the conversations you've had with
everything I've done.
Yeah.
Even with KUR, when I first started with KUR.
I ain't want to say.
But no, when I first started with KUR, people was like, what? I don't want to hear this. Or y'all not going to make it. What are you doing? Why are you wasting your money?
Right.
I heard that a lot of times.
Right.
Like, if I'd have listened to people, stuff would have never popped off like the way I did.
Right. Where can people find you at, Lil?
You can go on my Instagram, LiLNGB, LiLNGB. On TikTok, CEO LiLNGB, and on Twitter, LiLNGB.
And anyone who goes on these social media platforms, they can buy the studio box on these platforms.
Yeah, so they're starting at $1,200. It come with everything you need. You don't need to purchase anything. You can start recording today. Once you buy the box, you can start recording today.
Right. Lil, I'm gonna appreciate you, bro. You mean as soon as
appreciate you too, man. Come away from Jersey, man. You know what I'm saying?
As soon as we locked it in, bro, you was thorough with me, bro. I mean, I can't complain, bro. Anything you need from me, you got me. You know what I'm saying? You got
me, some boxes over there in Jersey.
Whatever you need, bro. We gonna network. We gonna lock it all in, bro. So like I said, I appreciate you, bro. And I can only, it's all from the heart, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All love.
Thanks, Lil.